Welcome back to part 2 of the story of a Ducati 996 that was featured in the movie Matrix Reloaded. My name is Tiziano, I'm your host today, and we're gonna go further. On top of telling you the story of this very vehicle, we are gonna tell you the general story of the Ducati 916 and its different iterations, Ducati 996, 998, and the little sister, the Ducati 748. So, let's go. The 748 is considered the economical version, and in part is factually true. But it's also true that its engine plays different rhythms. It revs higher and it has a lower torque. So, same bike, not quite the same, lesser valuable. And I know that because this 748 belongs to me. It's my bike. And it's a standard 748 with a bunch of upgrades, carbon fiber, airbox, just little things that makes it more va-va-boom, including the custom color. This is AR509 Alfa Romeo Rosso Amaranto. And I brought it in because I can't touch the Matrix one, since it belongs to Warner Brothers. And we can take the fairings off mine and see what's underneath. I want to demonstrate what was the philosophy of Ducati at the time. At the time, Ducati put racing before production for the public. And what I mean by that is that, for example, this bike is extremely uncomfortable, way more uncomfortable than, say, like a Honda CBR or a Suzuki Gixxer of the time. This is not a bike that you can cruise for donuts on a Sunday morning. This is a bike that can be used, say, for an hour, and then the pain is going to be excruciating on your wrists. Your hands will get numb like pins and needles. But on the other hand, while I'm fluffing, I can take, a side fairing apart very, very easily. And there you go. And that's because this was designed to be done like on the side of the circuit. Here also we notice a dry clutch. Again, very easy to take out and replace. Here we have a battery. I put a lithium battery, it's a lighter, and an upgraded rectifier. And this is pretty much what that bike will look underneath. We can see here there is the L, the two cylinders going like that. And the only difference with that bike is that perhaps that bike will have an oil cooler here, but otherwise is exactly the same. So a couple of things that unfortunately are a bit preposterous is, first one is there is no way to protect this beautiful body. Some, for example, Japanese bikes, they will have a space here where you could put some sort of protector in case you have you slide on the tarmac. There's no such an option for a Ducati, and as if to say, Ducati is like, well, if you can afford a Ducati, you can afford another one in case you crash. Because if you crash, ask me how I know it, you are going to be in financial pain. Another thing is quite elitist, is the rev counter. The rev counter has no red line. And Ducati again is like saying, well, if you own a Ducati, you know when to shift. And that's fair. However, the real reason for that is most probably that they used the same unit, the same rev counter for a 996 and a 748, or generally like for a big bore and the smaller sister. And this bike revs around 11,000. While that bike, I believe, is around 9,000. Don't kill me. I said I believe. But for sure they don't rev the same, they don't have the same rev limiter. So they use the same part. It has nothing to do with you knowing when to shift. And now for the goods. There are three revolutionary stylistic choices on the Ducati 916 and its iterations. The first one is the beautiful, drop dead gorgeous front, which really was revolutionary for the time. You can understand this is designed from 1993, and by 2004 was still great. And then is the swing arm at the back, but it's a single swing arm, and pipes under the seat. Now, Ducati was not the first to have that. I am well aware that the RC30 Honda had the same one mono swing arm and the pipes under the tail. In a way, the NR 750 had that. But in my opinion, Ducati did it better. And so it deserves a place in history for being the main proponent of this kind of style. Another characteristic of the Ducati of this era is the trellis chassis that Ducati stopped using with the 1199 in the late 2000s. And really, the trellis chassis was also a signature of Massimo Tamburini, who was, as we said, like the chief designer at Cagiva, and for Cagiva designed the 916, but also the MV Agusta F4 once the Castiglioni sold the Ducati and put all their efforts on resurrecting MV. Also, another thing that Ducati did is recycle this design in a multiple graphics and versions, so the price on your favorite marketplace requires a certain knowledge on the matter. Ducati in 2004, 1 year after the movie release, came out with a limited edition bike resembling the one featured in the movie. Except that by now the engine capacity was increased to 998, not 996, and hence the name. It was a Ducati 998 Matrix Reloaded edition. It was a biposto, which in Italian means 2 seats. My bike is a monoposto, single seat, with a biposto subframe. So it was not top of the line in components, but it did feature a knolling rear shock, and the bike in the movie presented here is, as we said, a 996 because that was the model in 2002 when the movie was shot for its 2003 release. Now, scarce information is known about the picture vehicles, but I can tell this was a red 996S, where S stands for Strada, road in Italian, and it was painted over. There are a few blemishes here, a bit everywhere that give it away, and someone also took one of the Zeus fasteners. Now that would be easy to replace, but at the museum we're not into restoration, we're into preservation, and that's why we haven't replaced it. It sports aluminum Marchesini 5-spoke wheels, and that's why I'm holding this. My bike has 3-spoke Brembo aluminum wheels, which are heavier, but in my opinion also prettier. However, whenever I change the tires, I'm gonna put on this, where the much sought after and rather expensive magnesium option from Marchesini. This will decrease the weight of the bike and most importantly the centrifugal force. Therefore, the bike will be much nimbler in the change of direction and generally like in cornering speed. Even a better option would be carbon fiber wheels, but it can be cost prohibitive. When you hit a pothole, it can lead to catastrophic failure, which means basically the wheel disintegrated, and which is the very reason why they are banned in racing. With 146 miles on the clock, the bike was hardly driven, and the tires are 20 years old. They were actually the tires that you would buy the bike with. What else? Well, we don't know in which scenes this very bike was used, but it is safe to say at least 3 or 4 were built or painted over, and what resulted into a 4 minutes screen time segment, which is quite a lot. So, about the scene. The highway was actually built from scratch on Alameda Island, close to Oakland, California, at the cost of $2.5 million for 1¼ miles of tarmac, 3 lanes in each direction, and plywood walls to simulate the concrete. Believe it or not, to build a stretch of highway was cheaper over renting out a real highway. Carrie-Ann Moss did learn how to ride a motorcycle, but stunt rider Debbie Evans was the real trinity in most of its sequence. Look her up. Her career deserves more than a mention. Many camera and CGI techniques are applied and to make the scene breathtaking. But also, sound design is awesome. Unlike Terminator 2, where John Connor bike upshift endlessly, the baritone sound of the 996 motor makes sense in Matrix Reloaded, and it's amplified by the Doppler effect. What is the Doppler effect? The Doppler effect is the physics principle that dictates that objects moving increase or decrease the frequencies of light and sound. If something zips past you, it gets louder as it's coming to you and softer as it's leading. The YouTube channel Nerd Nostalgic explains this and more brilliantly. The 2004 Ducati 998 Matrix Reloaded edition was made in 331 units. There are different numbers on the internet, but my friend Angel showed me a letter from Ducati that firmly placed the production number at 331. It is somehow quite sought after, and many have a low mileage because they were deemed collectible from the very beginning. We're at the end of our journey together, but one thing that you know perhaps a Ducati to be famous for is the sound of its dry clutch. Now, we cannot start the 996 in Matrix for obvious reasons, but we can start this one. Some people love it, a lot of people don't like it, but that's definitely a distinctive sound of a bygone era for Ducati. Alright, that was intense, but can I say that I was looking forward to it for years? So I thank you for your time and for sticking with me until the end, and who knows? We may be doing this again with other motorcycles here at the museum. Let me know in the comments if you can bear my voice. I'm leaving you with a motto that accompanied my Sunday mornings watching bike reviews on the telly. When I was a kid, there was a presenter called Nico Cereghini, and at the end of each episode it will say casco in testa, ben allacciato, luci accese, anche di giorno, e prudenza, sempre. Ciao.